Wow, political tools. That really hits hard, doesn't it? To feel like that instead of, serving with honor. That must be incredibly demoralizing. And it looks like that feeling turned into action pretty quickly, Washington noticed.
Oh, definitely. An exodus like that. It would absolutely send shockwaves through Washington.
Lawmakers from both parties started demanding answers,
Yeah,
right? Accountability, wanting the policies reversed.
exactly. The Senate Armed Services Committee, that's the big congressional body overseeing the military, they actually called for emergency hearings. They wanted to investigate what they called a crisis of confidence among the troops.
A crisis of confidence. Okay, so things are escalating. How did former President Trump react to all this? The article says he doubled down.
Yeah, it mentions him blaming deep state generals, that term suggesting a hidden bureaucracy fighting him and fake news for twisting things. And he apparently insisted, quote, "I'm restoring strength to our military. The quitters can go."
Hmm. The quitters can go. Well, if you look at the bigger picture, the numbers seem to paint a slightly different reality than that statement. The thing is, the U.S. military was already having trouble with recruiting. There were shortfalls even before this. Things like changing demographics, different public views on military service, fewer people meeting the standards, health or education-wise, that kind of thing. And there's been sort of drop in families having generation after generation serve.
Right. Those were existing challenges.
Exactly. So now you add this exodus of experienced people on top of those recruiting problems. It just makes things worse. And national security experts are quoted warning that if this keeps up, the U.S. could end up with critical readiness gaps. Critical readiness gaps. What does that actually look like? Does it mean we can't deploy quickly or maybe struggle in certain regions? Because that sounds especially worrying. With global tensions being what they are, Eastern Europe, the South China Sea, the Middle East, it's a tense world.
That's precisely the worry, yeah. Experts fear it could mean we're less able to handle, say, multiple threats at once, or just find it hard to keep up long deployments. So what was supposed to project strength, seems to have actually exposed some pretty serious fractures inside the armed forces. The situation is described in the source as one of America's most serious internal challenges in decades.
Decades.
Yeah. So it's not just about feelings or morale, although that's huge. These are potentially foundational cracks that could affect America's strategic position.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, it really underscores how important it is to understand these internal dynamics within the U.S. military. These aren't just abstract policy debates. They could have real consequences for national security and how the country is seen globally. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. Considering everything we've discussed, the fractures, this crisis of confidence, soldiers reportedly feeling like political tools, how might this whole period change the way military service is viewed in the U.S. in the long run? Its appeal, the public perception, maybe long